Hello everyone and welcome to the newest series on the channel here, as it is TEW 2020 using a real world mod, our first modded series here on the channel, and it's a surprise one, something I didn't know was going to happen until Friday. I'm recording this on Tuesday here, so this is quite the quick turnaround, as it is a draft series. As what happened was Nathan, or my good friend, my good buddy of No Legs Gaming, sent me slid into my DMs and asked me if I would be a part of this draft that they're doing. And I'm always down. I'm always down to draft. Such a fun, even if nothing comes out of it, it's still a fun time. I would say consumer, but I wouldn't say waster, as you could just have so much fun just drafting an organization and building up stars and tag teams and stories and this whole thing. I love everything about it. I've done like I think 6 or 7 of these now, either on the Grey Dog software forums or in Discords, as I've been an American company, a Mexican company, a company in the UK, company in Japan. So I wanted to do something, another new territory. So I went with Canada here. So we're the Canadian Wrestling Alliance, from the Cverse kind of name, and just transferred over here. You see a little golden logo, as this is, we were the 10th pick of the draft, and there was 10 people, so we were last, so we went back to back. So it was a serpentine draft. So we were the 10th pick and then the first pick of the next round. I actually really love that. I love being at either the end or the beginning, rather the first 3 picks or the last 3 picks. When it's something like that, when it's 8 to 10 people or more, as it's much easier to go back to back. Very, very easy to maintain what you want to do and how you want to draft. And one, don't have to worry about people stealing someone if you're making tag teams or something. As our size is at medium, I believe. Yeah, we're medium. There's a couple of companies that are medium. There are a couple that are small. There's actually one that's tiny. I could be wrong. I think it might be tiny. But out of the 10 of us, we're ranked first, which that doesn't really mean anything. Everybody has 0 prestige and whatnot. As far as our roster here, so our roster, it's a lot bigger than what we actually drafted. We drafted, I believe, 40 rounds, and 2 of them were for TV and I believe the pay-per-view. Yes, so and then referees and whatnot. But as our roster is, I think we signed 16 free agents, plus we have a loan from someone in our alliance, as we'll get to that later. As we're the owner, and we are Bret Hart, of course. So I mean that was just a layup. Who I wanted to be the owner for CWA, that'd be Bret Hart. It just makes more sense there. As we're just gonna kind of run through everybody. I know it's a big ass list, but we can do it. Brock Lesnar. Brock, as you could kind of see from the stable, a little different Brock Lesnar than what you're used to seeing. Was gonna draft him, and obviously drafted him, but then wanted Paul Heyman too, but Paul Heyman was taken. I wouldn't say shortly after I took Brock, but I figured no one would take him. Mistake on my part, as then I wanted to have him be in Dark Order. So that was just kind of a thing where I have nothing for him with, we don't have Paul Heyman, so now it's kind of something without, kind of a man without a country now. We need him to do something. So we had him be the main leader of the Dark Order, and then who I wanted to manage the Dark Order was going to be Jake Roberts, but Jake Roberts in this game is retiring, so can't do that now. So our third option, I'm going to keep close to the vest, but he is going to have a manager. I actually thought about doing basically making him Mil Muertes, putting him in a mask and having Carly Perez manage him. That would have been kind of sick, but also would be kind of dumb at the same time, because he's Brock Lesnar. He's basically our biggest male star. Would be kind of dumb to repackage him and put a mask on him in hindsight. Or not really in hindsight. If this was real. This is a real thing. Brodie King is, member of the Dark Order. We put him and PCO together. We'll talk about PCO later. But, Brodie King. I'm surprised I got him as late as I did, surprisingly. I got him in, I think, let's see here, was around 26. Pretty late in the draft. But, it is what it is. He's not really over in Canada, which that's That's okay, though. We'll get him there. As Bryce Rumsberg, our ref. Gotta love Bryce Rumsberg. One of our 2 referees. It's Chelsea Green, our first free agent. As we'll talk about. She was on the list of being drafted. As just didn't go that way. Was going to draft her and Diana Barrazo, but she got taken kind of earlier on. I think around 32. So that was right towards the end of the draft. But, you know, and I was like, well, no one's probably going to take her, so we'll just wait till the end. Pick her up as a free agent. That's what we did. Christian. So, Christian, that's a fun little pick here, because he was penciled in when I was like, well, you know, we'll draft Edge and we'll draft Christian kind of together as Christian. We'll keep him max stage and we'll have Edge actually wrestle as like an occasional wrestler or something. As then Edge was taken by someone in the U.S., so it's not really a big deal. Well, he wasn't a huge part of our plans. But for Christian, he was just going to be like a road agent, a backstage person. As I was going to have Mauro Ranallo and Nigel McGuinness as our commentators. We'll talk about why I wanted kind of Nigel and Mauro Ranallo a little bit later, but that was just the idea, and that quickly got nipped in the butt. Mauro Ranallo just because he's Canadian, but Christian is our color commentator. That's fun. I figured that'd be a great thing for him to do, actually, in real life. I'm surprised he's never done it, to be honest. I'm surprised nobody's kind of been like, let's sign him as a color commentator, because he'd be fantastic. He's a phenomenal talker, and I feel like he would be a funny guy to have on commentary, too. So I feel like he'd be a great diamond-in-the-rough commentator. Maybe in, like, 10 more years we'll see that in real life. Who knows? Courtney Rush. Courtney, obviously, another Canadian free agent for us, who, you know, we need. I love having actual people in the region, and she makes perfect sense for what we're kind of trying to do. On my short list of my draft, I had her and Everett together, but then someone took Trevor Lee. And the way this draft works is when you take one half of a tag team, you have the rights to that person, and that person chose to have Andrew Everett as well. So, kind of nipped that in the butt, so it was just like, well, we'll just wait till the end and sign her as a free agent. As Dahlia Black, another free agent signee, you know, you see we have signed TK Cooper. He was another free agent that I had on my short list. I was going to draft him and Travis Banks. Just kind of ran out of time because they don't have any pop. It wasn't a huge concern. Figured somebody would take them, but surprisingly they slipped through the radar. So we got, and we're basically redone the South Pacific power trip. So that was cool. As Ethan Page, all ego Ethan Page, drafted him and Josh Alexander together, so that was fun as the Monster Mafia. Again, 2 Canadian guys getting drafted together, and it adds to our tag team division. Evil Uno, same thing. You know, Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, drafted them shortly after the Brodie King PCO draft picks, and so that was like 29-30. That was, you know, again, 2 Canadian guys, and them being, you know, part of the Dark Order, that was fun. So that was how I put, like, Brock in there. I was like, alright, so we got Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, so we could kind of work our way around that. Which is kind of weird to say, you know, 2 guys who are not going to be a huge part of the stable, who are just there, kind of as more as, like, the second-tier team of the Dark Order here in this save. Bringing them together as just really the main focus of, like, this is what we should do, having a Dark Order stable. As it was just kind of fun. It's fun to see kind of what the Dark Order is going to do. This version of the Dark Order with Brock, PCO, Brodie King, Evil Uno, Stu Grayson. That's so, you know, very a weird bag. Because at first, you know, obviously with Paul Heyman and Brock, I was going to try to do a Dangerous Alliance, and that didn't work. And you know, it's just a whole thing. As Go Shizuki, who a free agent, he was on the list. Or actually, no, not a free agent. I fucked up. He was not a free agent. We drafted him and Nakajima together as Axis. You know, just my second favorite tag team in the world right now. So that was just an easy kind of layup. He's actually a little bit over than I thought he would be, so that helps. But Go Shizaki, huge. As Hiroshi Tanahashi, you know, it's kind of crazy. So there was 2 Japanese companies. So there's going to be a third one. And then Mike switched to Europe. But, you know, when I picked Canada, I was kind of like, at first, I really kind of was thinking, we'll do a Japanese company, and I saw there was already two, before I made my company. It's kind of like, well, I won't really want to force a third Japanese company and having 3 companies now buying for talent. Really should have done that, because did not know that the 2 other Japanese companies in Devil, Cyborg, and Luke, Devil Cyborg was making like a DDT-like promotion with some Joshis, like his first 7 picks for Joshis, and I wasn't probably going to take any Joshis. And then Luke basically made Dragon Gate, so the heavyweight Japanese pro wrestling scene was just wide open for the taking. And I took, like, think about this, I took Hiroshi Tanahashi and Kenta, we'll get to Kenta, they went back-to-back, in the 7th and 8th pick. That's pretty crazy. Like, Kosuchika Okada was taken in the 4th round. I just, kind of the way this draft went. And I just had to. After the 5th round, I was like, alright, I gotta take Tanahashi and Kenta. Like, we gotta get some fucking... And now, his pop is at 30, so it's really not a great pick, but it's... I mean, still, it's Hiroshi Tanahashi. We gotta have him. Jack Aller, so I get to finally talk about a UK guy here. So, one of the titles we're gonna have is the CWA British Commonwealth title. So we're gonna have a bunch of British guys going at it for a belt. It's kind of like a UK division, if you will. So Jack Gallagher was not one of the first UK picks, but he was kind of shortly after, as he's a great hand. I actually like him as a worker and as a promo guy. He's a fun guy. He's better as a babyface too, just kind of my opinion. But we'll see how it goes, though. We'll see how it goes. Jimmy Corderas is a legendary referee, of course, from the WWE many moons ago, and really huge in being a more of a kind of the top ref for Canada for a lot of years. So that was kind of like a no-brainer, as I think his reffing skills are in the 76, 84. I didn't turn off the scouting, but it's no big deal. There's Joel Redmond, another guy who... So I was going to draft him and Martin Stone together as fucking England's Calling, but basically Luke drafted Biff Busick, so I was like, oh, okay, so we can't now draft Martin Stone. Then he never took Martin Stone, so that was just kind of like, oh, okay, I'll just sign him as a free agent, no big deal. So that's how we got him and Martin Stone, plus adds to the UK division, so that's huge. John Morrison, I wanted to sign Taya, so I was like, alright, we'll sign him and Morrison. We'll sign Morrison, and then the same thing with The Miz, we'll get to later on. Wanted to get Maurice, has the key of having Canadian wives is you'll probably get drafted or picked up by me. So that's just happened there with John Morrison, and so that's kind of fun. They're kind of like their own little deal there. You have Morrison and Miz, you have Taya and Maurice. Kind of fun. As Johnny Saint. Johnny Saint is basically the authority figure for the British Commonwealth division and scene. So on the first TV taping, he's going to debut the belt, and it's going to talk about the tournament that's set up. It's an 8-man tournament. As Brett's kind of like the main authority figure and the main owner. Johnny Saint is the head of that division. So it's just kind of like they kind of parent CWA, if you will. But that's going to be awesome. Johnny Saint wasn't the first pick. It was going to be Regal, but someone took Regal, so went with the backup plan on Johnny Saint. Not a bad backup plan at all. But, we'll see how it goes. As Jonah Rock was a free agent, we drafted TMDK, and obviously it was like, well, probably no one's going to draft Jonah Rock, so we'll just pick him up as a free agent and make it a stable. So that's what we did. As Josh Alexander, we talked about, Monster Mafia. Nakajima, I love Nakajima. So, No Mercy, which we'll talk about with Kenta here. So, for those who drafted with me, are going to be like, I thought it was called No Mercy, or I thought it was called No Fear, rather. So, when I sent the stables over into the Discord and whatnot, I called it No Fear. I got it mixed up. No Fear was a tag team of Takayama and Takeo Omori. And Kenta's stables called No Mercy and Noah in like the early 2010s. And I just had it, confused to get it mixed up by dyslexia getting the best of me. And, which is kind of, because Takayama was also No Mercy too, so I think that's where the confusion linked. But so Kenta drafted him with Tanahashi back-to-back picks, and wanted to do the No Mercy stable, as we'll get to. So we have Kenta is in it, Axis is in it, and Go Shizuki and Nakajima. So, I mean, a lot of Noah guys. We have a lot of Noah guys. Kento Miyahara. So, Kento Miyahara was on my short list, and Nathan drafted him. No Legs drafted him. Saddened me, but afterwards, there was an alliance made with me, Nathan, and Luke. It's kind of like the TEW tubers, if you will. Well, Maxwell isn't it, though, so I guess it's not the complete TEW tubers of the draft, but somewhat. So we loaned him from Nathan's company, which is Tier 1, so that's going to be fun. We're going to team him up with Tanahashi as Go Ace. You'll see that kind of later on. Kevin Steen, our number 1 pick, went with him and Sami Zayn back-to-back. We kept him as Kevin Steen just because that was how he was in the database already, so it's just like less work for Nathan to do, to switch to Owens. No, so that's going to be huge. He's going to stay as a heel. He'll probably be our top heel. Maybe behind Brock. He'll be the top 2 at least for sure. As Chris Statlander, our last pick. Huge pick. We went back-to-back with Kylie Ray and Chris Statlander. That's some pretty awesome picks, to be honest, for a women's division. 2 young, up-and-coming stars in the wrestling world right now, in the real world here. So that was just an easy little pick. She's great. She's great. With the Alien Invader gimmick. Devil Cyborg wanted her immediately, which fit right in with what he's doing over there. But I just could not do it. It's good he wanted to trade Daisuke Sakamoto for, which I would have loved, but I also wanted to have Yujiro Kobayashi, which I should have just done. Should have just traded and signed it, but, it is what it is. Chris Statlander is huge, though. She's a huge get for us. Same thing with Kylie Ray, which her stats aren't actually really that great, to be honest, but we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, she's not completely terrible. As Lance Storm, road agent. Huge, easy road agent to have. So we'll have Brett as a road agent. We'll have Lance Storm as a road agent. Johnny Saint would probably be, if we need him to be a road agent. Trying to think who else we could. Christian could be one. A lot of people could be road agents, but so that was just an easy little, another Canadian guy, easy road agent get. Morgenstern, we talked about, getting him, wanting to draft him, but we couldn't because of the Bisp Music pick, so we had to wait till the free agency and picked him up. Maurice, same thing. We drafted The Miz in hopes of getting Maurice as a free agent because figured no one would draft her, which that was the case. Mikio Satomura wasn't drafted. Kind of crazy. 40 rounds. Surprised nobody that was doing a women's division or a Joshi division like Devil Cyborg wanted to draft her. Well, not really. Devil Cyborg's not really doing a Joshi promotion. It's DDT and the likes of it's combined, but still in the same breath. Figured she would not have been there, but she was. And snagged up as a free agent. Mikey Nichols' team DK Vic with him and Shane Haste. Naomichi Marufuji was not drafted. Will probably down the line, maybe, because with him. So as you'll see out in our stables, most of my Japanese talents in a stable. There's 2 kind of Japanese stables. There's No Mercy, and then there's Tsujiro Gun. Naomichi Marufuji and Tanahashi and Kento Miyahara, which will, when we loan from Nathan, are not in a stable. Marufuji could definitely be a No Mercy, for sure, and have him and Kenta be teaming up. That'd be fun. But I don't know. I kind of want to have Marufuji be on his own. Just kind of see how that goes. As Natalia Neidhart. That was an easy pick. Think she was our 2nd woman drafted. Which, actually, no, she was our 3rd, but still, an actual Canadian. And she's going to be managing TJ too, which TJ is not hurt in this. He's, healthy, so that's fun. That Book Tyson kid. As Nathan Cruz, guy that we wanted for the British Commonwealth Division, didn't sign him though, or didn't draft him rather, so we signed him. Even though we'll talk about him kind of a little bit later on, but it's just a kind of fun guy to have. You know, he's a vet, but he's he's very talented, and we'll see how he does for us here. It's Pac. Pac obviously was one of our first picks. You know, we went back to back with him and Barrett as for the Commonwealth Division. Gotta love Pac. He's a goddamn man. What more can you say? PCO. At first, when I drafted Brock, and then was wanting to have PCO, he was definitely on my short list because him being Canadian was like, man, that'd be a fun-ass match to do. Brock Lesnar and PCO, that'd be fucking sick. But they're now in the Dark Order together. Plus, in this save, he's retiring in 3 months, so that's fun. So we'll have to figure out something for Brodie King to do afterwards, who he'll bring in to team up with him as well. But yeah, PCO. We'll have him around for 3 months, and then he'll be retired. But he's 53, though, so it makes sense for the most part. Pete Dunne was not drafted. You might be saying, Max, how the fuck does Pete Dunne not get drafted? Great question. You have two people to blame for that. First is Luke. Luke drafted Matt Riddle, so it was by association and kind of that he was going to draft Pete Dunne later on. He never did. Also, the Big Dog. Big Dog is, he's a Welsh company. He's the only, basically, company in the UK in this save. Drafted Mustache Mountain, but didn't draft Pete Dunne. So, there you go. No Pete Dunne, thanks to Luke and Big Dog. Because he was definitely on my list. He was going to be someone I wanted to draft. Even without having Bad Riddle and or Mustache Mountain, was going to sign him and draft him, but was not the case. I have to do it this way, which is fine by me. As Renee Young. Renee Young is going to be not our lead announcer, but our backstage interviewer and personality and whatnot. So, at first, it was going to be her and Christian together as a commentating team, which would be a little fun, as kind of the backup plan from Maranello and Nigel McGuinness, because Nigel's from the UK, Maro's from Canada, so be a fun little mix for when there's the UK British Commonwealth division match happening, and then there's a any type of other match from the CWA. It's from different perspectives. There, like kind of Nigel would be the lead announcer for those British Commonwealth matches. Well, that just kind of was the idea in theory. But here, we had to switch it up. But then I saw that a certain announcer that I wanted was actually not drafted, so we just picked him up instead, and that's the commentary team. As Ronda Rousey. Huge draft. However, as you see there, she's out for a year and 3 weeks for personal reasons. Oof. Tried to edit it in the editor there, in the in-game editor. Could not find it to get rid of personal issues, so it is what it is. Not a huge deal, to be honest. Like, she wasn't going to be, even though she's a big-ass name and our second biggest star on the in the company, wasn't really too, like, the same thing with Brock. They were just kind of drafted for name value at that point and not really, like, wanting to use them. But Ronda would still be awesome, though, nonetheless, in the CWA and what we're doing. As Sami Zayn, we're going to change him to be a babyface again, so he's just going to be lovable babyface, Canadian hero, fucking underdog. Never say die, Sami Zayn. That's going to be a lot of fun to do. Hoping he'll be the top babyface. Who knows? Shane Ace, obviously, from Team DK. As Sheamus O'Shaughnessy. Instead of just being Sheamus, having be Sheamus O'Shaughnessy. I just love that name. I just thought that's, I always thought that was a great name. I always kind of hated they dropped it to just Sheamus. But, that's just kind of a me personally thing. Him and Barrett are going to be a team together. They're going to be the lads. It's going to be fun. As, we'll see how he does. I think he's going to do pretty well, though, for us. As, Shujiro Ishii. Or is that Ishii? Shujiro Iri. As, he's the goddamn man. I love me some Shujiro Iri. As, he's going to be in Suju, again. So that's fun. He's a free agent. Picked him up. I love him. So, it's just another, again, I went a little overboard with Japanese talent. There was just so much at my disposal. I had to sign him. Like, I just had to sign him. Shuji Ishikawa, I drafted him and Suwama together as Violence Giants, of course. Probably, the best tag team in the world, in my opinion. As, they're fucking awesome. Them and Axis is gonna be awesome as fuck. Can't wait to do that. Them and Brodie King and PCOs would be a lot of fun. Them and Sheamus and Barrett would be fun. Like, there's a lot of fun tag teams that could be done with Violence Giants in this tag division. As them and Monster Mafia 2 would be sick. That'd be cool. As Stu Grayson, of course, the other half of the Dark Order. As, again, Suwama. And which Suwama and Shuji Ishikawa are a part of Sujiwara Gun. Which, speaking of the man himself, Takashi Sujiwara, free agent, sign him up. You know, it's that simple. I love me some Takashi Sujiwara, even though he's 50 years old. Still, he's the fucking man, and I love him to death. Taya Valkyrie was, obviously, again, drafted with John Morrison back-to-back. Or managing John Morrison, and being a Canadian in the women's division, so kind of dipping the ends of both ends. So a better version of Maurice, in my opinion, because she can actually wrestle and not just be a manager. As The Miz, speaking of Maurice, The Miz, as we'll see how it goes. I think it's going to be actually a really good talent for us. His promos are really good, so that's going to be good for us. In the ring, maybe not be at the level of everybody else, but he's over. He can get a promo. He'll do just well for us. It's TJ Wilson. So the plan was to have TJ and Davey Boy Smith Jr. Questlove drafted Davey Boy Smith Jr. and crushed my soul. So I was going to have the Hard Dynasty again. I was just going to do him, Davey Boy, Davey Boy Smith Jr., and Natalia. I was just going to redo that all over again. Could not be done, though. So, we're just going to have TJ and Natty together. I forgot before I started my save to edit TJ Wilson and Wade Barrett to be active. So, kind of had to... Luckily, TJ Wilson had to just easily talk out of retirement. He's back. But, for Wade Barrett, that's a different story that we'll get to. As TK Cooper. Again, free agent with Travis Banks. Brought them together as the South Pacific Power Trip. So that's going to be fun to have them as an act together. Tomohiro Ishii. Man, oh man. So he was kind of just, again, with someone. We got him in the 23rd round. So, when I drafted him, it's kind of like, I kind of have nothing for him to do. And I try to trade him to 5 different people. Try to get him for Davey Boy Smith Jr. Of course, Love denied that. Try to get him for, I believe, was trying to get either someone from the UK. Someone from the UK with him. Couldn't even get that done. Trying to think who else I traded him for. And everything just got denied over and over again. Tough. It's tough. It's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow. That Tomohiro Ishii, just nobody knew what to do with him. Just nobody had any plans. Which that makes sense. There was no heavyweight Japanese company. So that makes sense to a degree. But we put him in No Mercy. He's the big muscle. Well, maybe not big muscle, but he's a muscle nonetheless for No Mercy. That's going to be a lot of fun. Now, that's a fun stable. Like, Kenta, Access, and then Ishii together as a stable. That's fun. As our lead announcer, Tony Schiavone. I think that's a great free agent signing. Great guy to pair up with Christian, too. 2 very funny fucking guys. As, that'd be a fun, actually, commentating duo. I'd pay good money to listen to them call the action. That's for sure. As Travis Banks, of course. As, that's... Even though he's New Zealand, it's the same thing with him and TK Cooper. They are kind of, British Isles, based guys, so they're going to be a part of not only the tag division, but the fucking British Commonwealth division as well. With both them and Sheamus and Wade Barrett is teaming up together as 2 teams that both are going to compete in the British Commonwealth and in the fucking tag division. As Trish Stratus. What a huge get. Our first female. She was our 3rd ever pick. Which, that's kind of crazy in hindsight, but she's over fucking Canada, so it does make sense from that regard. She's an occasional wrestler. She's not an active wrestler or anything. But I think she's going to do great. We'll see how she goes, though. Or we'll see how it goes, though, rather. But, because our stats, they're not too eye-popping or whatnot, but I think she'll do just fine, though. as her and Miko Satomura would be a fun little match, honestly. Then like her and Taya would be fun. Her and Chelsea Green, that'd kind of be fun, just from like I'm sure Chelsea Green looked up to her and whatnot. Just like kind of her division, her being the head of the female division, the women's division, if you will. Will be interesting to see how that goes. Her being an occasional wrestler, we might need someone. Her and Natalya too, that'd be fun. Little match. As our last one, as you see from the underscore, so Wade Barrett. I changed him to wrestler. Tried to get him out of retirement in the game. Wouldn't do it. I even changed his date to where his date of birth was when he'd be 30 instead of 40. Like he is in real life. Figured, alright, we'll make him 30. We'll talk him into out of retirement. We'll put him back at 40. Still wouldn't do it. Maybe have to bump up, like, his body and whatnot is, let's see here. Let's see if it shows us. So we'll just be like, hey. Yeah. Don't think as a, and that's just kind of. So what we'll have to do is basically, I changed his name to add an underscore. I imported a Wade Barrett, this same Wade Barrett, but I just made him an actual active wrestler before he was retired. And then imported him in the game, which you'll see from, we'll just get out of the screen real quick. And so we just look at Stu Bennett. Here. So we're going to try to sign this version where he's actually active, and we'll change back the retired version and just kind of either make him, just have him, give him the 0 stats everywhere and release him, type of thing. Who knows? We'll do something. We'll figure it out. But that's our roster. Our titles, as we've mentioned. So we have the British Commonwealth, the Canadian Heavyweight, the Canadian Tag Team, and the Canadian Women's, and the Stu Hart Memorial Cup, which is going to be in, I believe, October. I could be wrong on that, which we'll look at real quick. The events and whatnot, as our television is obviously CWA Stampede. It's on Friday on TSN on a late evening slot. Our events here, as I made little logos for them. Some are good, some are kind of eh. But Calgary Clash, Traditions Never Die, Maple Leaf Massacre, Heart Attack, a Slammy Showdown for the Rocket. So this is basically a memorial for Owen Hart without it being a memorial for Owen Hart. But yeah, just in this world even, I wanted Martha to just be her, completely still being the Wicked Witch, and not wanting anything, any association with Owen Hart with pro wrestling to happen. So we did a little something for that. British Columbia Beatdown, or just BC Beatdown, Edmonton's Epic Extravaganza, Golden Grudge, Dungeon Wars, the Stu Hart Memorial Cup Classic, Cold Fury, and then the Winter Classic. There's no season finale or whatnot. It's just kind of all events and whatnot. But we'll have like a big-ass tournament at the Memorial Cup Classic, the Stu Hart Memorial Cup Classic for that. So we'll look at the stables just really quick, just to kind of give everyone what that looks like. It's Dark Order, of course. No Mercy, of course. Suzuki Gun, of course. And DMDK. So I just kind of want to show off that. And the tag teams as well. No Access, England's Calling, Go Ace, Brodie King PCO, the South Pacific Power Trip, Steen and Zane, Dark Order, Ms. Morrison, Monster Mafia, Team DK, and Violence Giants. So just kind of where we're at. So I believe that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, I believe is how many we got. So we got 12 tag teams. Plus we're going to bring in a couple more. As then, I want to bring in 3.0, Shea Matthews and Scott Parker. It's kind of like a jobber team for the tag team tournament. As before, we don't have any storylines made, but we'll have to make storylines. So the British Commonwealth title tournament, so that's 8 people. It's gonna basically should be done by our first ever event, Calgary Clash. First round, Jack Gallagher, Sheamus O'Shaughnessy, Pac, Nathan Cruz, TK Cooper, Pete Dunne, Travis Banks, Wade Barrett. We'll just kind of from there on work our way there. Which that Wade Barrett will be the actual Wade Barrett and not commentator Wade Barrett. It's kind of funny that we could actually make Wade Barrett an actual in that tournament when he's just a announcer, but that's fun. So to just kind of showcase the rest of the world, we are a part of Alliance, like we said, which bug off. There's Luke's and there's No Legs. So before, which we do have titles, by the way. We have a international open weight and a tag team. Don't know if we'll use them, to be honest. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? Just kind of, I have just so many things planned. I only have an hour TV, which that's what I want. Obviously that could easily be changed, but I like having an hour TV. It just makes the most sense for what I want to do. As we'll look at the other kind of rosters. My favorite kind of other rosters, there is another Canadian company as the CCW, which that was drafted by W. Boyd, which his roster's unique. I'll just say that, because is there somebody I really wanted from this roster? Actually not really. There is some names, for sure, but like, it's not a huge get, because I figured, because he drafted second, so I was like, alright, he's going to take Omega first, and then he'll have Chris Jericho second. So, and that's exactly what he did, so that's how I planned for that. I knew he was going to take Omega, so I was like, alright, I'm going to take Steen, Zayn, 1 and 2. That's what I did, and, gave him Jericho, and then he was kind of like, well, I don't know who else to draft that's in Canada for my third pick, because your first 3 picks had to be from someone in that home region, so he drafted Kyle O'Reilly with his third pick, which might be a reach, might not be, depends on what he does. I feel like it's just going to be him and Bobby Fish together, so, I don't know, it seems like a bit of a reach. I did have Tyler Breeze on my list, but he wasn't someone of really importance. It was just another guy, and same thing with Tennille Dashwood. There's 2 people. They were going to get signed, because they were going to get drafted due to them just being really Canadian. He did take Nigel Tell. That was probably the biggest one. As I'm saying this, I'm seeing people that actually could have used, but Nigel would have been used, and he took Regal Tail. So there's a couple things, really just kind of non-active wrestlers. This is kind of really what was more of the thing. The biggest really blow was Questlove taking Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Jake, who is, I believe, trying to think he's, in NW, as he took Edge, but it's kind of more of like traditional kind of WWE in a sense. You kind of see a lot of them. There's like MJF, but kind of more traditional WWE is kind of what he went with. As again, my favorite promotions, I loved what Nathan was doing with Tier 1. They're small. It's more indie for the sake of indie. He's got the Guns. He's got Eddie Kingston. He's got Brian was his first pick, which that was a pretty solid first pick. He's got Robbie Eagles was a fun pick. Kento Miyahara, that stung. Stokely Hathaway, Mia Yim, that was I had her penciled in. Chris Hero. Trying to think who else, but that was a fun little roster for sure. And then Olympus is fun. Questlove's promotion. He's kind of what he's been doing with the Discord. He's been posting what he's been doing just even early on so far, and it's been fun to see, fun to watch, as it's kind of a mixed bag, kind of, they're just really big name people. You got Roman Reigns, Jon Moxley, Kazuchika Okada, Keith Lee, Joe Rusev, Naito, even Jay White, just kind of Sonata too. Brian Cage, David Starr. Fun roster there. Probably again, the actual favorite would probably be Devil Cyborgs, is East Coast Pro Wrestling. It was so unique, as DDT with a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So I'll probably have to say Devil Cyborgs is probably my favorite. I like Mike's for what he was trying to do. I believe it was he made it in Europe, and he drafted Claudio with his first pick, and then Walter, and had guys like Tommy Yen. He's got really, besides Claudio and Walter, it's all junior guys. You know, he's got Kota Ibushi, he's got Bandito, he's got Ricochet, Jay Lethal, Kushida, Lio Rush even, ACH, Speedball Mike Bailey, Taiji Shimori, he's got the Rascals, Everett, Flamita, Dragon Lee as Ryu Lee. Just, you know, that was just a fun-ass roster and kind of an idea to have Claudio and Walter. You know, obviously Walter just destroying juniors, but having Claudio in there as well, because Claudio and Tommy Yen, they could definitely work the smaller, yeah, because Tommy Yen's definitely smaller, but Claudio would be perfect for kind of what he's doing. So that was just a fun roster. You know, this is, you know, the Dragon Gate-esque, you know, Luke, what he drafted. So that was just, you know, interesting to see kind of how he was doing and whatnot. And plus, you know, he's got Ishimori, or he's got Marufuji rather, for the, and just signing as a free agent, yeah, having Jack Evans too, and there's some of them, you know, interesting to say the least. But yeah, that was kind of my just thought process on everybody's roster before we close this out. As what an episode, what an intro. It was probably a long one, yeah, 40 minutes. Yeah, that sounds about right. But we got to talk a lot about what was going on in the world, what's going on elsewhere. Oh, actually, before we go, there is one thing. So I was going to draft Uha and King Mo together, and they're going to be a tag team. And I said that after he took Uha Nation in the little Discord. Devil Cyborg goes, oh, well, you know, just types Mo Money, Mo Nations. And it was just perfect name for what they would be. So he and Questlove made the team, plus added Prince Nana as their manager, and made him a stable. So, you know, me and Devil Cyborg kind of co-parented a nice little tag team in the world. So that was fun. That's probably, as far as non-drafting, that was probably my favorite, my highlight, was creating a tag team. And let alone making it a stable. Seeing it be made into a stable. That was fun. Because, you know, King Mo and Uha, that'd be a fun little team, to be honest. Fun little team. Well, I hope it goes well. As, thank you all. As, what a exciting surprisingly series. As both, well, not really both, but me, obviously, as you're seeing this episode, Nathan's doing an episode, and Luke is doing recording of this database too. So if you want to also see their perspectives on how they're booking and how they're running their promotions, please go check them out. I'm going to be the first one to be uploading a video regarding this, because they're waiting till the actual game, whereas me, I'm just going to, you know, talk for 40 minutes about what I'm doing and whatnot. So I wasn't going to be booking anything or whatnot, so it was really no big deal for me. But yeah, that's where we're at. That's what we're doing. We're gonna be doing the CWA, our first TV in 16 days. We got our first Calgary Clash. Exciting times for sure. As yeah, we'll be doing this weekly as well. So by the time you'll be seeing this next time around, next Tuesday, the full game will, fingers crossed, be out. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. As yeah, we will catch you guys next Tuesday for our first ever TV. Take care, everyone.